Welcome to the real world. My name is Cameron. This is Carson.
That's
Today
right.
we are breaking down our best and worst movies we watched in March 2025. Let's go. All right, so we're taking a look at our Lettterboxd diaries. We're both on Lettterboxd. You can follow us there. The links are in the description of this video.
Yes, please do. We watched a lot of good movies this month, or last month, I should say. It's April
Right.
1st today. We
That's
had a lot of
right.
April Fool's jokes going on
That's right.
today. Got a shout out to IGN and their great prank.
5-hour video revealing the rest of the Avengers Doomsday cast.
Yes.
Tons of fun. But yeah, we want to cover all the movies that we watched in March. This is something we've been doing this year.
Yes.
We did it for January and February. Time for March.
The first one I watched of March was on the 3rd.
Me too.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Mine was Hi-Yo Silver.
Oh, is this a Lone Ranger movie?
1940.
Very cool.
The first Lone Ranger movie.
Okay.
It's a re-edit of the 15-chapter serial made in
Awesome.
1938.
Very cool. Very cool. Big Lone Ranger fans here.
It's really good. It was well worth watching. A
Okay,
great
good.
origin story for the Ranger.
Awesome.
Tons of fun.
Very
it's on
cool.
Prime. You can watch it right now.
Great. I watched A Real Pain.
Oh, yeah, the
Which
Oscar
was
Oscar-winning
so good.
film.
Yes, Jesse Eisenberg.
Very nice.
It was terrific. I gave it 4 stars.
Okay, great.
Such a great performance. A well-earned Oscar.
For
sure.
Kieran Culkin.
Kieran Culkin just
What a
knocked
good
it out of the
actor.
park. I mean, he's such a great personality in this movie.
Right.
And it's a really fun watch. It really personifies what it's like to have a cousin.
Okay, yeah.
It's a cousin movie.
Right.
And it's really good. That just general plot synopsis. It's basically about these two cousins who used to be close when they were kids, getting back together after their grandmother passes away.
Oh, okay.
Who was kind of like their link together.
Right.
And they're going through a Holocaust tour.
Oh, interesting.
So it's all just about them
Wow.
kind of going through the tragedy of their life, and it's really interesting.
It's a good drama.
Yeah,
It's got some comedy in it.
good
from what I
drama. It's very
understand.
funny. But yeah, it gets a little dark.
Okay, great. What did you watch next? What date next?
Next was the 7th.
Okay, see, I got one on the 6th.
Okay.
Mickey 17.
I also watched Mickey
Okay,
17.
well, we watched it at the same
I must
time.
have logged it.
You logged it the
at
next
midnight
day. Yeah.
that night. Mickey 17. What did you think?
I thought it was great.
This is a movie that people are really butting heads over.
Yeah, I think if you know Bong Joon-ho, though,
Yeah.
I think if you know kind of what you're getting into, I think a lot of people didn't necessarily expect what it was going to be.
Sure.
I think we had a better idea of what we were getting into.
Yeah, it's a Korean. It's a very Korean sense of humor, but it's a
Right.
political satire.
Correct.
A kind of lampoon
Uh-huh.
of massive corporations, of marriage of church and state,
Sure,
and
sure.
of just kind of
Yep.
this very timely, but also it's kind of timeless clash
Yep.
between classes.
Mm-hmm.
It was really neat. I
That's
thought
great.
that Mickey 17. It's one of those movies you have to watch and kind of reset your expectations and your sensibilities to the kind of filmmaker that
Right.
has made
yes,
it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's like I feel like that way with watching any foreign film.
Yeah,
You kind of
definitely.
have to put yourself in the shoes of the culture, and it was really good. I thought it was a terrific Robert Pattinson performance.
Oh, his performance is amazing. The
did.
production design
Yeah,
is amazing.
production design very
the
good.
effects are great.
It's basically, if you look at it from a certain point of view, it's basically the story of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind.
Oh,
It's kind of
it's got a lot of similarities to
it's
that.
kind of
Sure,
exactly
I can
that
see
plot,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of with a new coat of paint and a different focal point for the story.
Yep, absolutely. I'm always up for original sci-fi.
Yeah.
There's not as many of them made, I feel like, nowadays. And so I'm happy to see an original movie. No, it's not the 17th film in this franchise.
That's right.
That just happens to be the title.
Yes.
Let's move right along.
I didn't watch another one until the 17th.
Okay, so I've got a few to cover then.
Okay.
On the 8th, I watched Buccaneers Girl. This is
Buccaneers
an old
Girl,
1950s pirate film.
Very cool.
It's really good. It's lavish production design, Technicolor,
Awesome.
cinematography.
Great.
Really well made. Tons of fun. Great adventure movie the whole family can watch. Then on the 8th, I watched Harvey. This is one of my new
Ooh,
favorite movies.
I've heard of Harvey.
This is James Stewart.
Okay.
Post-war James Stewart.
Yeah.
But a performance that is so unique from anything else I've seen him
Yeah.
do. It's really fun. It's basically about this guy who has an imaginary friend who's a bunny.
That's right.
Who's
yes.
like a 6 foot tall rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's all about kind of his interactions with his family and what they think of him, and that they think he's going crazy.
Right.
Should he be institutionalized? Why is he doing this? And the kind of whole town gets involved.
When was this
small
released?
Town. 1950.
50. Okay.
So it's all black and white.
Interesting.
Really well shot.
Very cool.
It's really fun. It's really enjoyable. It's definitely one that more people need to see because it's so seen, underrated, underheard of.
Until you'd seen it, I had never heard of it.
Right.
So that's great. Definitely want to check out Harvey.
Definitely check that out. On the 10th, I watched Justice League Dark.
Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War.
And then I watched Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War. I watched both.
This was all in preparation for our
Constantine watch party.
Which was great. Check out that video we just put out.
You gotta check the video out.
Us with Josh and Ben.
That's right.
We had a full panel here. We were all shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was a fun time.
So what did you think of Constantine? Because I watched it.
I really liked it.
I watched it on the 14th.
Right.
In preparation.
Okay.
With the commentary. Just to rewatch it. But yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. My thoughts are kind of in more detail on the video we dedicated to it. But just generally, it's one of those movies that I kind of have always avoided a little bit because I've just been a little leery. I mean, I'm not a huge Constantine fan. I don't love his character, but it was so fun.
So fun.
I gave it 3.5 stars just on an initial viewing.
Sure, I think that's about where I was when I first saw it.
I think that if I rewatch it, like you've seen it probably a dozen times by now.
It's grown on me so much. Every viewing, I catch new things.
Yeah, I'll probably like it a little more.
I see new things. I explore the depths of the world and the characters more.
Yes.
It's so much fun. It's a great movie.
It's very cool.
Really well made.
Honestly, I think that this is what superhero movies should be.
Yeah.
It's
a singular thing.
A singular vision,
yeah,
a single movie about a character and their little journey that they go on.
It's so good.
I love how focused it is on that. It doesn't really spend too much time expositing what the world is like and how the mechanics of everything works.
Sure.
We were just talking about, off camera, we were talking about Captain America Brave New World for a minute.
Right.
That movie just hammers you over the head with exposition.
So much.
So many times and so unnecessarily.
I know. It's too bad.
It's like this movie, you're dropped into the middle of it.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, what's going on? What is all this? And there's all these questions you have, and as the movie goes on, you get answers.
Yes.
Just by witnessing.
But it's not through an exposition dump of a character explaining exactly what's happening.
Exactly.
Great. I'm glad you liked it. I liked it too. Let's move on to the 16th. I watched Strangers on a Train. Alfred Hitchcock.
Ooh, okay, yes. I've heard of this movie. Classic.
Man, this movie's so good.
Classic premise.
It's one of his best films. It's one that doesn't get talked about a lot, though.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a template film. You know, a lot of films have mimicked it.
Yeah.
Since there's a performance by one of the actors that's very memorable. It's really well worth watching. Came out in 1951.
Awesome.
Another black and white.
That's great.
We're going to be talking a lot about black and white this month because later in the month I started a black and white experiment. We'll talk about that
for sure.
On the 17th, I watched Odd Man Out.
Yep.
Great movie.
Very cool.
Set in Belfast.
Okay.
This came out in 1947. James Mason stars. And it's kind of about this guy who's on the run. Mm-hmm. You know, and the whole city's kind of after him.
Right. Is it a foreign film?
It's I know it was all shot in Belfast.
Okay.
I think it's a British film.
Okay.
So yes, but man, it's way better than I remembered it being. I remember liking it. This is my second viewing.
Good.
Criterion edition I got years ago.
Very cool.
And wow, was really impressed by it. What a great movie. Impactful ending. Mm-hmm. It's just so well made. Yeah. So highly recommend that. On the 18th, I watched Soldier.
Ooh,
you haven't seen Soldier,
I have not seen Soldier.
Man, Soldier, right here. Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
In the 90s, baby.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In his prime. I mean, he is at physical peak perfection in this movie. He plays basically the perfect soldier, trained from birth to be a soldier.
So he's FN2187.
Kind of.
Okay, great.
But then they bring in the new soldiers, and it's time for him to go.
Okay.
And he's got to find his way. What's he going to do now?
So I heard this is connected
I
heard this is connected to the Blade Runner continuity in the sense that it is the same writer.
It's the same writer. David Webb Peoples wrote it.
Who says...
And he says it's connected. And it works. Okay. I mean, it works as an off-world colony movie.
Okay. In the same way we consider Better Luck Tomorrow canon to the Fast and Furious
yes.
saga.
That one fits even better than this.
No,
just because
no,
of the timeline.
No, like recurring characters or like references to the Tyrell
There
Corporation.
are a couple of references.
Oh, okay.
To things that characters in Blade Runner talk about.
Interesting. Okay. Very cool.
So it's great. It's definitely worth watching.
Sweet.
Underrated movie.
Very cool.
On the 19th, I watched 16 Blocks.
Okay.
Richard Donner.
Yep.
His last film. One of his best, honestly.
Wow.
I think. I bumped this up in my rankings. It was Bruce Willis's birthday. That's why I watched this. Bruce Willis, who's no longer acting. This is his last great movie, I think. I mean, it is so good.
Great. That's awesome.
It's fantastic. It's well worth watching. A great
Very
action crime thriller. Mos Def is in it as well, who we like from Italian Job.
Yes,
and,
yes, that's right.
You like him in Be Kind Rewind, which I still need to see.
Love that movie.
Next up, I watched Mad Max Fury Road, Black and Chrome.
Was this the beginning of you watching black and white movies?
Almost. We're very close. This was sort of like the one that made me go, I gotta see more of these.
Yeah,
color movies in black and white.
This month for what I saw is the majority of this month.
Last half of the month.
The last half at least.
So it started with this. The Blu-ray I got of Fury Road Black and Chrome edition.
That's right.
With an introduction by George Miller, by the way, who prefers this cut.
Right. So basically what you've done as an experiment is you've turned the color off on your TV.
Right. We're not there yet, though. Let me cover a couple more. Well, do you have any? Are you in the... We're at the 20th.
The next one I have is the 23rd.
Okay, so on the 22nd, I watched Jumanji.
Okay, great.
Full color.
Of course. Classic.
Awesome movie. Holds up so well.
Love Jumanji.
Man, Joe Johnston. What a genius.
He is.
Might be Robin Williams' best movie. I mean, it's one of his best, I think.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's a unique role for him. So that one's tons of fun.
Yeah.
23rd, we went and saw...
We saw The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie.
That's right. It is so good.
It's excellent.
It's the best film of the year.
I actually agree.
We've only seen a few,
I think it is the best film of the year so far.
It's going to be hard to top it.
It's endlessly joyful. It is just opening to closing frame, full of just witty banter, comedic dialogue and timing,
that great
physical
Looney
comedy,
Tunes chaos that we just love.
It's 2D animation at its finest.
Finally,
it is just
2D
terrific.
Animated film.
There's not a moment wasted. It's such a fast-paced, fun time. Anyone who's a fan of science fiction or sci-fi B movies or Looney Tunes at all will get a kick out of this.
A couple of great twists in there too.
Oh yeah, a lot of great.
Really surprised by it.
A lot of great subversions of tropes and kind of lampoons of tropes, which is great.
Eric Bauza, that guy.
Yeah.
What an actor. What a voice actor. He just really gave it his all.
For sure.
He has such passion for these characters.
Yeah.
I've seen him in interviews. He's great.
It's amazing.
I can't wait to see more.
It's amazing what he's able to pull off here.
I'm so glad they just announced Ketchup Entertainment, who put this out.
Yeah.
They've acquired the rights to Coyote vs. Acme.
Oh, really?
It's coming out next year.
The movie we thought was lost media.
Yes.
This is good news.
Finally.
That's great.
I'm so excited
for
more. The resurgence of Looney Tunes, man. It's here. So fun.
That's great. I love it.
24th is what we're on now.
Yes, okay, let's do it.
I watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Ooh.
Just on a whim. Just felt like it.
Okay.
Just felt like, for some reason, this has become, I think, my go-to Indiana Jones movie. And I don't know why.
It's a very...
it's so extreme.
It's a very
I think that's why I like it so much.
movie, yeah.
I mean, Raiders is the best. We all know that. But
Raiders is solid gold, but this is like, you've like run Indiana Jones through the ringer.
Yeah.
And it's just so compressed.
Right.
And yeah, like you said,
I love
extreme.
the
It's like
characters.
it's like concentrated Indiana Jones.
Yeah. I love the characters.
Yeah.
I love Short Round. And I love Willie.
It's weird because it's both the funniest and scariest Indiana Jones movie.
That's what I mean by extreme. It's like extremely scary.
Yeah.
Extremely funny. Extremely great action. Harrison Ford's doing something different with the character in this. Yeah. It's great. It's great. It's a great movie.
It is very good, yeah.
It
was my favorite for a long time.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, it was my favorite.
The same day I watched The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
So, the middle chapters of my two favorite trilogies.
Yes.
I checked out. I don't know why. Again, it was just like I wanted to watch a movie I knew.
Yeah.
Just kind of have. I think I was editing
Sure.
videos, and I wanted something on in the background that I knew very well.
Yeah, that's good.
But these movies always draw me in.
Of course.
And they're always so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
This is the theatrical cut of Empire I watched, which I have on DVD.
That's great. I love it.
And then my experiment started on the 25th.
Okay.
With The Rocketeer.
Great.
It was the perfect one to start with.
You watched The Rocketeer without color.
Turned the color off on the TV and said, I'm going to watch Rocketeer. And
Rocketeer's a good start.
wow.
Yeah.
It was perfect. It was the perfect pick. Because, like a lot of these that I'm going to talk about, it's based on these 1930s comics and serials.
Yeah, very pulpy.
It's very like Commando Cody. It's that kind of vibe. Guy with a jetpack in the 1930s fighting Nazis.
Right.
And it was perfect in black and white.
Awesome.
It looked amazing.
That's very cool.
The lighting, the production design, that whole 30s aesthetic. Movies in the 30s were shot in black and white, so it totally works.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that was tons of fun.
I can definitely see it fitting that aesthetic. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the 26th, I tried Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Ooh.
My favorite film of all time.
This is a movie that feels like, obviously, it's going to be great in black and white.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. Again, this
is
more
the
striking lighting.
Yeah, Raiders is like the end-all, be-all, learn everything you can from this movie kind of movie.
Exactly.
So stripping the color away, what that really does when you take color away from a movie is it highlights the cinematography and the lighting.
Yes. The use of shadow.
And takes away from the kind of blended color palette of the movie.
Right.
So you're just focused on the solid image.
The image. It's all imagery. It's all movement and motion.
That's why if you watch any MCU movie without color, it's probably terrible.
I can't wait. I'm going to do it. I'm going to start with Phase 1.
Start with Civil War.
Start working all the way through.
Start with Civil War.
No, I'm going to start with
that
Phase
movie's
1.
already black and white.
I'm going to start with Phase 1.
The movie's already gray.
And work through. I think Captain America is going to look good.
I'm sure it will. Phase 1 will look great.
Iron Man will probably
all of Phase 1 will look good.
But yeah, Raiders is so good.
Thor of the Dark World will probably look good in black and white, actually.
We'll see. Next up, I watched The Mummy in black and white.
Okay, another great pick.
This one's set in the 20s.
Yep.
So it has that same vibe of Indiana Jones, where there's a lot of desert locales.
Yeah.
And very good use of lighting, torches, in the caves,
right.
all that stuff. It just it worked really well.
That's very cool.
That one fit perfectly. Another thing black and white does is the texture.
Yeah.
You can see the texture.
Yep.
Especially movies that are shot on film so much more clearly. And like you were saying, the shot composition stands out.
Yes,
the
for
staging,
sure.
the blocking.
Yep.
I find myself being drawn into the performances more, especially on those intimate close-ups. There's just something about stripping that color away that just makes you just because it looks like art.
I think especially
it doesn't look like real life,
right? And I think especially if it's a movie you've seen before.
Yeah.
You know it so well already, so you're watching
though.
it with kind of new eyes.
Yeah.
So it makes it a little more interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's cool.
The next one I watched in black and white, The Lone Ranger.
Yes, the new Lone Ranger.
The new Lone Ranger from
remake.
2013.
Yes,
Gore
yes.
Verbinski's take on
I think this
character.
is a terrific movie.
It's so good.
I love the Lone Ranger.
It's so wacky.
Yeah.
It's very Pirates of the Caribbean. If you watch Pirates of the Caribbean and then you watch this, they feel very much in the same world because it's the same director.
Right.
And he's got a very unique sensibility. This was great. I'm a huge Western fan. And so many of the Westerns I like, most of my favorites, are black and white films.
Right.
And so bringing this new film into that was really interesting. Yeah. It was very different. Definitely gave it a more classic feel. I felt like the film overall had a more serious tone this way.
Okay.
Because it's a pretty, like I said, it's pretty wacky. It's pretty out there.
Sure.
It's very silly at moments, and those moments are still there, but they don't play as over the top. I would say. Everything's a little more subdued when you watch it in black and white.
That's cool.
I really liked it. And then my favorite so far, I think of all the ones I've watched so far.
Okay.
Is 2003's Daredevil.
Ooh, Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
The director's cut, of course.
Of course.
Which is the only version we'll watch. In black and white, this was...
It's kind of fitting because he's blind.
Exactly.
You should have watched it all in Braille.
Exactly. I just read the whole movie.
Just read the whole movie.
with my eyes closed.
With your
Just
eyes
watch
closed.
the movie with your eyes closed.
Exactly.
But this, it definitely helps you, puts you in his shoes more. Because he does see in that with his radar sense.
Right.
And I think in the color version, it's kind of like a bluish. It's a very light bluish kind of, but it looks really black and white tint to everything he sees. And so this helps put you in his shoes.
And I think people often complain about the costume looking too black, and the whole.
This way, it's just black.
It's just black.
I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah,
it's perfect. Yeah. Daredevil's first suit was black anyway.
Sure.
I mean, what does it matter?
Yeah.
This again, because my issues with this movie are again, I think a couple tonal things where it gets a little too silly. It gets a little too
people
booky.
I'm going to stand up and defend.
But it's very gritty.
I'm going to defend the playground scene. People say it's the silliest thing ever. I think it works very well for those characters.
None of it bothered me this time. None of it bothered me.
Okay.
Even Bullseye. Bullseye is my biggest problem with the film.
Sure.
I think because of the performance.
I think
because
he is
of
the weakest link.
The way he was written.
Yeah.
The lines he has to deliver, are just kind of what he feels like he's in a different movie.
He feels more like a comic book character than anyone else.
Yes, exactly. But it didn't bother me nearly as much this time watching it this way. Especially, I really like the opening scenes, the boxing scenes.
Yeah.
I feel like I was watching Raging Bull, dude. I mean, it was awesome.
That's really cool.
It was so cool.
That's great.
His whole origin sequence, I mean, it's great.
That's
it's
awesome.
Really
I would love to see it in black and white.
You've got to watch it this way.
I already like the movie, so I like it even more.
I liked it even more. I bumped it up.
Great. I love it. I love it.
All right, continue on the train. 27th. Do you have anything on the 27th?
The next one, actually, let me think. No, I didn't watch anything until the 23rd.
Oh, okay. I'm past the 23rd.
Okay, so on the 23rd, I watched Where the Wild Things Are.
Wow.
This is a movie I've wanted to watch for a long time, but I've never really found the time to watch it.
I vividly remember the trailer.
Oh, yeah. We've seen the trailer 1,000 times. Because it's on all of the DVDs we had.
Exactly.
Where the Wild Things Are. Now, I've read the book. I read the kids' book.
Sure.
And I really like that book. It's a movie that...
This is a lot longer than the book.
Yeah, obviously.
The book's like 10 pages.
The book's almost all pictures as well. This movie is so weird. It's really hard to talk about.
Okay.
Because it's basically one actor the whole movie. It's just the kid.
Okay.
And the rest is these giant Muppets.
Yeah.
They're physical puppets.
Okay.
It got like people in suits.
It's not CGI.
And these giant monsters walking around. They're CGI on like when they're speaking.
Right.
Like their mouths and kind of their eyes sometimes are CGI, but you really can't tell.
Oh,
I mean, it's some of the most impressive effects combining I've ever seen.
Interesting.
It looks so real. And I think a lot of people don't like it because it looks so real.
Right.
They're scary. They're giant monsters.
Sure. They want it to be more cartoony.
There's a giant, chicken man that looks really scary, and there's a big, monster guy.
Okay.
But really, it's very. It has a lot of subtext.
Okay.
It's about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Every character really embodies like a personality trait that this kid has.
Okay.
It's really a dissection of this kid's psyche. Because the opening scene is just him. It's just the kid, and he's just having a normal day. It's like a snow day.
Right.
So he's just living life. You see how his life affects his mom and his sister. And it's just like, this is kind of a troubled kid. Like he's kind of a bully.
Yeah.
And then we kind of, he's not really a bully, but the rest of the movie is him in the wilderness. And it's just like, it's crazy. It's so hard to describe.
Yeah, I can't wait to
explain.
watch it. I mean, I want to see it.
Its tone is it's very hard to pinpoint.
It's very dramatic.
It is sometimes very dramatic,
yeah.
And it's other times like a Muppet movie, very silly.
Okay.
Because everyone behaves like a child.
Right.
Everyone behaves like a little kid.
Okay.
Like they're all 8.
Yeah.
Like they get into fights and they're like, I don't want to play with you anymore, and they pout and they have like forts, and they have like mud fights, and they like have little social groups. So like, we're friends with him. You guys are the bad guys. We're the good guys. And it's so interesting. It's such an interesting movie.
That's cool.
I would love to rewatch it. I'd love to pick it apart a little bit. It's not the most like comforting or pleasing movie to watch, but it's very interesting.
Okay. I'll check it out. I mean, I'm very interested in it. You've pitched it well. All right, now we're jumping to the 27th. I watched Justice League: The New Frontier.
Great pick.
This was my first animated black and white movie. This was really cool. I love this movie.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite DC comics. As the New
100%. Darwin Cook, brilliant. This was perfect because, again, it's set in the 1950s, 60s era.
Right.
So you have all these kind of retro-looking designs for all the characters and all the production design and everything.
Yeah.
And it worked really, really well.
Very cool.
Especially all the Martian Manhunter stuff.
Yeah.
Very old 50s sci-fi vibe from all that. And the Batman stuff, of course. Looked stunning in black and white.
That's great. I love
even
it.
Superman, I thought, looked great in black and white. The only thing that didn't work as well, I would say, would be characters like Flash and Green Lantern, who are much more colorful. Their powers kind of involve color in certain ways, especially Green Lantern.
That's a good point.
But it still looked really cool. I'm really glad I watched it this way. It was really a fun way to watch it.
Definitely, if you haven't, check out Justice League: The New Frontier. It's a great movie just about 1950s
Cold War paranoia,
political climate mixed with superhero stuff, which is very cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
Next up, Quentin Tarantino's birthday.
Okay.
So I watched...
I've still never seen any of his movies.
Jackie Brown, which is my favorite of his.
Very cool.
Still definitely my favorite.
Okay. You watched it in black and white?
Watched it in black and white for the first time. And it fits so well because this has that kind of throwback...
it's very 70s,
caper vibe. Yeah, very 70s, blaxploitation type of a vibe, which Tarantino's a big fan of.
Right.
He grew up around those kind of films.
Okay.
And that was such a fun watch. Again, this is one where there's a lot more than any of Tarantino's other movies, a lot of close-ups, because this is sort of his most I would consider his most mature film as far as the characters are all adults,
right?
And
they behave like adults.
It's about their relationships,
right?
And so it's very well written. It's actually not. I think his only movie that's based on someone else's work.
Okay. I know he hates that.
Yeah, but he's a big fan of this novelist and took one of his books and kind of adapted it. And so great performances, great actors: De Niro, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Robert Forster. Good movie. Then I went over to Dredd.
Yes.
I wanted one.
This is Carl Urban's Dredd?
Correct. The 2012 version.
Right.
I wanted to mix it up a lot.
This is an interesting pick because Dredd's a movie I think of its color almost first. It's like one of the first things I think about when I think
almost
of
like
movie.
Fury Road in many ways.
Sure. Yeah.
So stripping that away, again, it takes you down to the bare essence of how did they light it? How did they shoot it? What is the framing? What are the actors doing?
Something you mentioned while we were talking was black and white does a good job at hiding bad visual effects.
Definitely.
Does that apply here? You think?
Well, I don't think the effects are necessily that bad in this movie.
Well, I don't think it has bad visual effects. I just think that comparative to its budget, the visual effects were one of the most difficult things to do in the movie.
Yeah.
So I was curious, stripping it in black and white.
It looked great.
Yeah.
It looked great. I mean, it really looked... It was just as stunning, honestly. The use of slow-mo, all of that's still there.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it's a bare bones... I feel like it's like the essence of the movie comes out so much stronger when it's done this way. And so I really liked it. I think the performances are great. There's a couple of shots that were just so memorable, in this movie. So I thought it was great. I've only seen this a couple times, but man, it was way stronger than I even remembered. So
great.
Really glad I rewatched that. All right, jumping now to the 28th.
Okay.
The next day.
You watched a lot more movies than I did this month.
Yes.
That's because I've been watching Battlestar Galactica.
That's right. You can talk about that for a second. I'm sure a lot of BSG fans.
Yeah, I should talk about it for a second. I just started watching Battlestar Galactica, not the original series.
Right.
The 2004, 2003, really when it started.
Right.
Remake.
Yep.
Started with the micro series. It's basically just a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
I was just blown away
Yeah.
by Battlestar.
Yeah.
The way it starts so strong. it has such a strong start.
For sure.
Because it's a huge cast of a ton of characters from totally different parts of this world.
Right.
And throwing them all into this big mess, this big chaotic event that kicks off the series was really impressive. And the visual effects are just, for a television series in the early 2000s.
I know, it's really impressive.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And the way that they shoot their visual effects especially really makes it very timeless. And you can tell the whole show is shot on film. It's very grainy. And the way it's lit is
probably
is
one of
great
the
as
last ones shot on film.
Yeah. Such an awesome pilot that really gripped me.
For sure.
So I've just been deep into Battlestar.
Are you in season 2?
Season 3.
You're on season 3
I'm
already?
actually probably going to finish.
You're almost done with the show?
I'm probably going to finish season 3 tonight.
Wow.
I think I only have 2 left for season
That's
3.
Crazy. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one to binge, too, because it's very serialized.
It is.
Everyone leads into the next episode.
Yeah. Maybe you'll have like a week or 2 weeks apart from episodes. Sure. But it is one continuous story that it just gets more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Every episode.
It gets intense.
Every episode gets... Oh, my goodness, is it intense. The stakes...
Yeah.
The stakes have never been higher
Exactly.
in any show I've ever seen.
Right.
I've never felt like humanity is in jeopardy more than in BSG.
Right.
I don't know how they do it. They find a way to make it seem like every mistake, every decision is like
life or death.
This is life or death. It's very stressful to watch, but
it's a good show.
Season 3, now that I'm in season 3, has done an excellent job at lowering the overall stakes.
Sure.
And raising the personal stakes.
Personal, yes. It gets more personal.
Season 3 is way more personal than seasons 1 or 2.
Right.
And I'm just very, very impressed with what the show's been able to do so far.
Great series. Glad you're enjoying it. All right, over to the 28th. I started watching The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Okay, great movie.
This movie is one I grew up on. Really liked it. I've always liked it. And I thought this would be a good one as a contender for a black and white because there's a 1920 version in black and white.
That's right.
The story's been around for a long time. So I thought it would work. The opening sequence works extremely well in black and white.
Okay.
Very scary, very intense. The problem is it's a musical and it's kind of like it's more of a kid-friendly take on the version on the tale.
Yeah.
And so the musical sequences don't hit quite as hard.
Right.
They're not as fun to watch. Because this movie has great use of color. I mean, it's some stunning color in this movie. And so it just doesn't work quite as well in black and white, but some scenes work better. The scary scenes, the scene with the judge and certain sequences look great. Beautifully animated movie. So that was an interesting experiment.
Good pick.
Then we had my birthday. On my birthday, I got to watch movies all day.
We watched a lot of movies on your birthday. I didn't watch all of these with you, but
before I even came over to your house,
some of them I did.
I watched El Mariachi.
Ooh, good one. Good pick.
Came out the year I was born.
Yep.
And it's one of our favorite filmmakers, Robert Rodriguez.
That's right. His first film.
Here he is, Rebel Without a Crew.
Yep. Great.
Read the book.
Bookumentary.
It's about the making of El Mariachi.
Yeah.
And
so watching it in black and white with all the knowledge. Have you seen it since you read the book?
No.
So with all the knowledge you had and watching it in black and white, how was it?
Great.
Good.
It's so good.
It's a good movie.
So well made.
Yeah.
Knowing when you read the book, it's like it makes the movie infinitely better.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone who just sat down and watched this probably would not enjoy it nearly as much as I do.
Right.
Because I've read the book, I get what's going on behind the scenes. I know kind of what his day-to-day was like on the set. Yeah. So
that's cool.
It's so good. It's one of the most inspiring movies, just because again I know everything went on to go in. That went into making it.
Yeah.
But black and white made it better.
Really?
I'm telling you right now.
Good.
Because this movie, it's super low budget.
Of course.
So it's pretty rough. It's pretty grainy. It's pretty dirty.
That was what I liked about it.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. But the black and white, it fits black and white better, I feel like.
Because something black and white does that we haven't talked about yet is it highlights texture.
I mentioned that briefly.
Did you?
Yes.
The texture of clothing, the texture of
everything,
the floor,
walls, the floors,
so the set
roads.
design and costume design becomes more important as well.
It does.
For establishing new textures and the film texture as well.
Yeah.
The film grain that it's shot on.
Exactly.
So.
And this is a Western, right?
Yeah.
So it fits that, Westerns are, a lot of the early Westerns are all black and white. So it worked very well.
So what is the next? You watched Star Wars.
Star Wars 1977.
Yes. The theatrical cut.
Theatrical cut.
Yep.
Which, as you know, my DVDs, they don't look so great. They're a rip from, I think, the Laserdisc version or something. It's pretty rough. Black and white clears it up. Didn't have any problem watching it in black and white.
I didn't have any.
It looked great.
Last time I watched it, I projected it instead of watching it on the TV.
That's a good way to do it.
And that made it look a lot better, too.
Yeah. The black and white helps a lot, man. Hides some flaws. Not just in visual effects, but in, anything.
Great. I love it. I love it.
It was fun. I mean, it's super great because it's more like those Flash Gordon serials that inspired it.
Now, this is one I actually have seen in black and white.
Yeah.
I think when I originally got my copy,
Your
I
VHS copy?
Oh, no, yes, my VHS copy. I got my VHS copy from a yard sale somewhere or an antique store or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I hooked up my VCR up to the TV, and it was... apparently, I just didn't plug it in right. I just didn't put the color chords
the red,
in the right
red,
order.
Yellow, white.
I didn't put the color in right, so it was just in black and white, and the aspect ratio was kind of wrong. So I had to fix it, but I was like, I'll just watch it in black and white. That's fine. So I did. And it was really cool.
It is really fun.
It's really fun to watch. Like we said, movies.
You know so well.
Like the back of your hand.
Makes it new. It makes it feel like you're watching it for the first time.
Especially because it was a theatrical cut at that point. I hadn't really seen that often.
Exactly.
So it was like watching like archival footage.
Right.
Of like behind the scenes of how they made it.
That's a good point. A lot of behind the scenes photos are black and white.
Yeah.
For all those movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of makes you go, oh yeah. I don't know. It does really changes it. It's interesting. Then I watched Babe. The family had never seen Babe.
I've never seen Babe.
You've never seen Babe?
I've never seen Babe.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
I thought you've seen Pig in the City, but not Babe.
I've not seen.
You've not seen Pig in the City.
I've not seen either. No.
Wow.
I want to. They sound really good. To
watch. You're gonna love these.
I'm a big Charlotte's Web fan.
It's very Charlotte's Web. The use of puppetry and animatronics.
Oh, really?
Stunning.
See, I thought this was just like one of those Airbuds movies.
No. I mean, it has some of that. It has some of the digitally animated mouth moving on real animals, but it's not all that.
Okay.
It's a great blend. It's really seamless.
Interesting.
It's super fun to watch.
Huh.
Inspiring story.
Yeah, I want to see.
Great
I want to
family
see Babe.
film.
I've heard good things.
Then I watched Batman Year One.
Ooh, this is a good pick.
Because I was so obsessed with Batman scenes in New Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I gotta watch a Batman in black and white. This character's kind of made for that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this whole color scheme is black and gray.
Right. Yeah.
So
there's actually a Batman comic run called Batman Black and White.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's not colored. It's all just inked.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
So Year One was my go-to because I was just thinking about this in my head. This movie is so leans into that detective noir crime vibe because it's really a Gordon story, as much as it's a Batman story.
Yeah.
And
this is a very direct adaptation of the comic too.
Very, very well done.
Yeah.
It looked spectacular as I expected. The use of lighting, shadow stands out so much. It fits the tone, the vibe of the movie. It worked so well. I'm very glad I watched that one black and white.
Great, awesome.
Then I went over to your house and I bought you the Carl Zeman collection.
That's
right. Years ago.
Yes,
I still have
it's a great gift.
Any.
I've gotten to watch all of these films.
Criterion, three disc edition, 3 movies.
Yes.
Finally got to see the first one. Released in 1955. Journey to the Beginning of Time.
Terrific film. This is one we watched together.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I hoped it would be.
Yeah.
This is a Jules Verne.
Yep.
Goonies. Jurassic Park vibe.
It's just a
It
batch
is
of 4 kids.
so cool.
Batch of 4 kids from the Czech Republic.
Yeah.
Who are basically just exploring the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
Like an hour and a half.
Right.
And as they're journeying, they go further back in time.
Exactly.
Because their mission is to find because they found a fossil.
Yeah.
Like, we need to find the creature that this fossil is from.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep going back in time.
And they're in this little boat, and it's just them on this little river.
Yeah, it's kind of just like Boy Scouts.
But then they encounter all these creatures.
Yeah.
And all this weird stuff.
And all the creatures are
stop motion effects or puppets.
Combination
or sometimes
of so much.
There was one that was like a matte painting, half of it, and then the head was like a puppet or something.
Some of it's just animated.
Right.
Some of it is paper puppetry.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember, there's a shot of a leopard.
Yes.
The leopard is just a 2D image.
Yeah.
That's animated. They're literally just like puppeteering
pieces of it.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Really crazy stuff.
The visual effects, I think, are still very impressive.
I prefer them to the digital stuff.
Yeah.
I much prefer them because they're real. Someone actually built that thing.
And even if it doesn't look photoreal,
right,
there's still a level of tangibility.
Yes. There's personality.
There's something about it
in
physically being there.
It's like not E.T. ones and zeros.
Can you imagine if E.T. was CGI? Can you imagine?
Hey, there's a special edition where there's a scene where he's CGI.
Oh no.
And it's really bad.
I've never seen this.
You never should.
I just saw a trailer. What day are you on? You're on the 29th. Okay. On the 30th I saw a movie.
Right.
I just saw a trailer for a new movie that's basically like an E.T. story, E.T. type story.
Legend of Ochi.
Yeah. It looks really good.
I know.
It's a puppet.
It's a puppet, that's why.
it looks great.
It's not, what's the Netflix one? What is it called?
I never thought we'd talk about this on the show. The Chupa.
Chupa.
Is
it Chupa?
It's Chupa. Yeah, it's called Chupa.
I never saw it, but you said it was awful.
Chupa is a Netflix movie.
About a CGI alien.
I'm going to do my review of Chupa now. Chupa is a Netflix movie released just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
About a little Mexican boy and his sister and his grandfather he's living with. And his grandfather used to be a luchador.
Oh.
And
so it should be called Nacho.
He's losing his memory. He's becoming senile. So it's this kid and his sister, and they find a chupacabra, which is this CG animated Stitch character. It's basically Stitch.
It's Stitch. Okay.
But it's Chupa. It's the chupacabra, and the government gets involved and has to hunt down the Chupa, and we got to save the Chupa. So we got to run around the town with the Chupa. And it's mostly pretty bad, but it has one great scene where the kids force their grandfather to believe that he's still a luchador and fight off government agents to protect Chupa.
I love it.
It's pretty great. There's actually
That's
a great
great
sequence where it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chupa, it's a movie that has very little originality. You don't really care about Chupa himself. Yeah. But it falls into that pitfall of having a fully CG character that is lacking personality.
Yeah. Well, another movie that's based in reality, stop motion animated, we watched that day, was Fantastic Mr. Fox.
That's right. Which this is kind of sacrilege to take the color away from this movie because Fantastic Mr. Fox is built around its autumn color scheme. That's true. That's like the whole pull of the movie.
In many ways. But taking the color out, it's still a great movie.
It was still great, yeah.
I don't know if I say I like it better. It's just different. It's better different in a different but better way.
That's right.
It is, again, the texture, the lighting, the shadow, the character.
I think that especially because everything you're seeing is handmade.
Yeah.
Everything's a puppet. Yeah. Everything's animated. Yeah. The texture and the fabrics and the little water effects and the little things like that. The details kind of stands out a little bit more. Yeah. But I think that there's something to be said for the intention to be that it all seamlessly blends and you don't even notice all of that detail in the color version.
Sure.
But yeah, in black and white, all that detail really stands out in a different way.
The story still has the impact.
Sure.
And the humor still lands.
Yeah.
And
the lighting's
performances,
still great.
It's all there.
Yeah.
So really liked that. And then when I came home later that night, I opened presents.
Yep.
Surprise, surprise! I got a bunch of movies.
That's right.
You helped me get very close to my goal.
Yes.
Of completing my Criterion Western collection.
That's right.
You've got all the animated movies.
Yes, that was easy. There's only like 6 of those.
Right. I've almost got all the Westerns. I think there's only like 5 or 6 more or something like that I need to get.
That's awesome.
One of them was 40 Guns.
Yep.
Movie I've never watched.
Okay.
So it was a blind buy.
Very cool.
Put it in my wish list.
How was it?
Barbara Stanwyck's in it. She's fantastic as always.
Good.
I love her in The Furies.
Yep. I love The
My
Furies.
favorite
Yeah,
performances of hers.
Yep.
She's also great in Devil Indemnity.
Mm.
But this was really good. You know, she's leading this band of 40 cowboys, basically, the 40 guns of the title. But it's all about these different relationships she has with different people in this town. And,
okay.
It was really compelling drama, compelling story.
Great.
Beautifully shot in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And
now, you didn't have to turn your color off for this one.
No, exactly. Yeah, it was already off.
Great.
So I really liked those. I gave it 4
Awesome.
stars. Came out in 57. It's a great year for movies, 57.
Very
One of my
cool.
favorites came out that year. So I was really pleased with that.
Sweet. So
and on the 30th...
That was the last one you watched on your birthday.
On my birthday, that was it.
40 Guns
Closed
was
it
the
out.
end.
So on the 30th, I know you watched something.
Yes. So,
I watched a couple too.
Okay, great.
So you want to go first or you want me to?
Yeah, I'll do mine.
Okay, go ahead.
The 30th I watched, I was surprised with the gift of a ticket to the theater to see Princess Mononoke re-released in 4K IMAX.
What?
Yeah. I watched it in
IMAX?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I got to watch Princess Mononoke, which is already one of my 4 favorite movies of all time.
Right.
Your
Your
in
favorite Miyazaki,
IMAX.
Yeah.
Which was just stunning. I mean, the emotion of that movie is so powerful.
Yeah.
And
the bigger the screen, the bigger the emotion.
Yeah, exactly. It was so loud and it was
Yeah.
so, just my vision was just totally encapsulated by Mononoke. And
Was it
a piece of art.
packed theater?
It was a little busy.
Okay.
It was there were enough people there to where it was funny because there were a few first timers you could tell
really?
had never seen it. There's some shocking moments in
Yeah.
Mononoke. There's some beheadings. There's some loss of arms.
Right. People
And
freaked out a little
we
bit.
always get the oh my
Oh.
goodness like oh my
Whoa,
God.
what?
Whoa, they're like, dang, it's great. I love to hear that.
funny.
So I was glad to be surrounded by other fans, but yeah, Mononoke, man. I mean,
what more can we say?
right after it was over, the first thing I
art.
said as soon as it was over was like, it's like watching an entire trilogy.
yeah.
It's really
It's an epic.
full epic adventure
For sure.
that just feels perfect by the time it's over. It's just like
It's complete.
Yeah,
It's satisfying.
it is so complete,
And
such massive change from beginning to end of that movie. It's unrecognizable.
Yeah, the characters, the world, all
Yeah.
of it. I mean, it's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's
Great
fantastic.
film.
Definitely
Glad you got to enjoy it that way.
my favorite Miyazaki movie.
Yeah, Studio Ghibli.
Yeah, favorite Ghibli movie as well.
All right, on the 30th, I watched Blade Runner.
This is another all-time classic.
Black and white.
How was it in black and white? You watched the final cut, I guess.
Nope.
You watched the work print?
I put in the work print, then I went, oh, it has that bad voiceover at the very end. So I ended up going with...
Some people like the voiceover.
I know. I don't. I went with the 1992 year I was born, director's cut.
Oh, very cool.
Which I think might be my favorite version now.
Interesting.
It's basically... It's very close to the final cut.
It's the Deckard as a replicant cut.
It doesn't... well, technically they all are except the work print. So I like the work print. But it's basically got everything with the final cut, but not all the finished effects, or the redone effects, I guess.
Sure.
There's a couple of other differences, but really good. Black and white. It's my preferred version now. I can officially say. This
Oh
is
my
how
goodness.
I will typically want to watch the movie now.
In black and white.
It is so much more a noir
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah.
The lighting in this movie is unbelievably great.
It is. It's fantastic.
And black and white highlights that even more.
Mm-hmm.
It fits the tone so much better, I think.
Okay.
Because it's a very dour film.
Yeah.
It's raining
Right?
the
Of
entire
course.
time.
Yeah, it's always raining.
And it rained when I watched it, too.
Oh, great.
Which was great. And it's just so... It's such a black and white world, I feel like, that Deckard is living in.
Okay.
So again, it puts you in the vibe of the character and the story.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
I just think it works so well.
I think
in
that's an
black and
interesting point. It's definitely an interesting take.
white.
In defense of the color version, I just want to say, obviously it's neo-noir. It's all neon.
True.
There's great color
That's
there. But I think that its use of color and its use of bright, vibrant color is a great contrast to the actual tone of the story.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It makes the capitalistic oppression feel more palpable because you have all these colorful advertisements all over that are distracting.
Right.
And I feel like it's kind of meant to be distracting and meant to take Deckard's mind off of whatever horrors are going on in the story.
Yeah.
Some standout color moments are the eyes.
Sure.
The eyes being colorful is a huge point and motif of the movie.
Yep.
Even the scene where we go in to meet the eye maker, it's all blue and frozen in there. It's really cool.
Yeah.
There are some really great, basically pitch black moments where it's super dark and it's just like a character's silhouette or just like a spotlight on them or whatever. That I think also work in color, but it's.
But they work in black and white.
Really
you'd be surprised.
I'd be interested to see it in black and white.
You need to.
Yeah.
The second one, I'm not sure how it's going to be in black and white. Very curious.
Yeah, 49 I think leans a lot more toward being colorful.
Right. On the 30th, the same day, later that day, I watched another new movie I got.
Okay.
Called The Lonely Man.
Lonely Man. Interesting.
Another Western.
Okay, great.
Shot in black and white.
Nice.
Jack Palance and Anthony Perkins from Psycho.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is before he did Psycho.
Great. Before he went off the loony bin.
And man, what a great film.
Is it good?
I'd never seen it.
Okay.
And it's one of these, sort of like Shane, sort of like Unforgiven. It's an old gunslinger.
Okay.
He wants to change his ways.
Good.
And he finds out he has a son.
Ooh.
So he's going to go reunite with his son.
Very cool.
And his son blames him for everything.
Of course.
What's gone wrong in his life.
Yeah.
So they hate each other.
Great.
So it's all the story about how they, deal with each other, and he's trying to reconcile. He wants something to do with it. There's of course a female character in it who's very important to the story.
Okay.
His old gang comes back,
Great,
of course,
yeah.
and that creates more conflict.
Right.
So it's a great
really
character relationship film.
Yeah.
But with a lot of great action and drama.
It sounds a lot like the original Red Dead Redemption game.
Oh really? Oh, interesting.
That's basically the story of that game.
Huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
For a lot of the game, you're with your son.
Interesting.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you got to watch that then. I think you would like it.
Very cool.
And then to close out the month.
Yeah, last one.
Yesterday I watched Winchester 73.
Great. Have you seen this before?
I'd seen it once before.
Okay.
Thought it was amazing.
It's a great premise.
Now I think it's even more amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'd forgotten some of the just great scenes and setups and camera work, and it's this large cast. It's a sprawling tale. Like you said, the concept of following the gun.
Yeah.
Through, it's this guy gets it, and then
it's like War Horse, but instead of a horse, it's a gun.
kind of, kind of. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant idea. Very well shot. This is the first collaboration between Anthony Mann and James Stewart. They worked together 8 times. I mean, they worked together a lot.
Okay.
And this is the first film they ever worked together on. Several of them are westerns, and this is their best. They did a lot of great ones, but this is their best.
Sweet.
It's so different.
Very cool.
It's so different from any Western that I've ever seen. Just because of the whole idea of that story. And James Stewart, of course, is great.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the cast is brilliant. And it tells a very satisfying, kind of has one of these cool, like, full circle stories.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much away, but it's
great.
really well done.
Awesome. So, very cool.
Glad I watched it. Glad I own it now in the collection.
Yeah, that's right.
This is the newest Criterion. They just released this a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad I have it. That's all, folks, for our
great
March
just
watch list.
Yeah, to hit some highlights. Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie.
Hey, it's still in theaters. Go watch it,
Please
folks.
watch it. It's
so
excellent. I really liked Mickey 17. A Real Pain was one of my favorites this month for sure.
Yep. I'm enjoying the black and white. I'm continuing this. This is going to be... I mean, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm probably going to watch every movie in black and white. I mean, I really want to.
Great.
It's been such a fun experiment.
I love it. That's really cool.
I really, really have enjoyed it.
I've had a few ideas of movies that you could watch in black and white that I think would be cool.
Yeah, you need to send me a list.
Yeah.
For my highlights, I would say Journey to the Beginning of Time.
Yeah.
Big highlight.
Wasn't that a great movie?
What a great movie.
Yeah, I love that one. You need to watch the other two. They're really, really good.
Yeah.
I think I might like the third one the best.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And then watching Babe with the family.
Okay.
I mean, the whole family enjoyed this. They were cracking up. They were really into it.
That's great. You need to watch that.
And Daredevil Director's Cut, baby. Hey, I know Born Again's out, but take a break and
are we going to talk about Born Again? Are we going to talk about it?
Watch the original Daredevil.
We probably should talk about.
We'll watch it. We'll talk about it some other time.
Okay.
Not good. Not good, folks.
Not good, folks.
2003's Daredevil.
Yeah.
It's the best Daredevil adaptation on screen we've ever had.
Yes.
In my opinion. So anyways, leave a comment down below with all the movies you watched in March. Of the ones that we watched, what do you like the best? What do you not like? I don't think I had a negative review this whole month, because I was rewatching a lot of stuff I liked, first of all.
3.5 was the lowest rating for me.
I think me too. So, a good month. We like those months
definitely.
where we don't watch any garbage cinema.
Mm-hmm. And if I were to give star ratings to every episode of BSG, the lowest would probably still be like a 4.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
that shows just every episode is nailing it.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified of all our videos, and we'll see you next time right here on The Real Talk.